Have you ever been talking to someone, maybe a friend, maybe someone you're dating, and everything seemed fine, the conversations flowed, the energy was there, and then suddenly, nothing. No calls. No replies. Just silence. That confusing, empty space where someone used to be. You check your phone again and again, you wonder what went wrong, and you start questioning yourself. Was it something I said? Was it something I did? Or is there something wrong with me? This experience, which we now call ghosting, has become so common in our modern world that almost everyone has gone through it at least once. But here's the truth, ghosting is not just about you. It's not always about your worth, your personality, or your mistakes. Ghosting is deeply connected to psychology, the way people process emotions, fear confrontation, and deal with relationships. And if you've ever been ghosted, understanding the science behind it can be surprisingly healing. So, let's dive in. 1. The avoidance of discomfort. Psychologists explain that ghosting often happens because humans are wired to avoid discomfort. Ending a relationship, whether romantic, friendly, or professional, creates emotional tension. For some people, confrontation feels terrifying. Their brain associates it with conflict, rejection, or guilt. So instead of facing the awkwardness, they choose the path of least resistance, silence. Ghosting is not always about cruelty, it's often about emotional avoidance. 2. The fear of hurting you. It may sound strange, but sometimes ghosting comes from a misguided attempt to protect your feelings. Research in social psychology shows that people often overestimate how much direct rejection will hurt someone. They think, if I just disappear, maybe it will be less painful than telling them I'm not interested. Ironically, this backfires, because uncertainty and unanswered questions usually hurt far more than honesty ever would. 3. The illusion of endless options. We live in the digital age of swipes, likes, and instant connections. Dating apps, social media, and texting have created the illusion that there's always someone new, someone better, waiting just around the corner. Psychologists call this the paradox of choice. When you believe there are endless opportunities, you stop valuing the ones in front of you. Ghosting becomes easier because, in their mind, moving on is just one swipe away. 4. Emotional immaturity. Ghosting is often a reflection of emotional immaturity. People who ghost may struggle with expressing feelings, setting boundaries, or handling rejection themselves. Instead of saying, "This isn't working for me," they vanish. It feels easier for them in the short term, but it leaves the other person in emotional confusion. Ghosting is not just about ending communication, it's about avoiding growth and accountability. 5. The brain's reward system. Here's where neuroscience comes in. When someone ghosts, their brain experiences relief. The avoidance of confrontation triggers a release of dopamine because the person escaped stress. It's a short-term reward. But the long-term cost is guilt, unresolved emotions, and broken trust. This is why ghosters often struggle in future relationships. They repeat the cycle of avoidance. 6. The impact on the ghosted. Being ghosted can feel like psychological rejection, and studies show that social rejection activates the same parts of the brain as physical pain. That's why ghosting hurts so much. It's not just emotional, it's neurological. Your brain interprets silence as danger, as if you've been cut off from the tribe, triggering anxiety and overthinking. 7. What ghosting really says. The most important thing to remember is this: ghosting says more about them than about you. It's often a reflection of their fears, their limitations, or their lack of emotional skills, not your worth as a person. The science is clear, ghosting is usually about avoidance, not about your value. Closing thoughts. So the next time you're ghosted, don't let silence convince you that you're not enough. Recognize it for what it is, a psychological coping mechanism of someone who wasn't ready to handle connection with maturity. Instead of chasing answers from them, give yourself the closure they couldn't provide. Because in the end, ghosting isn't the end of your story, it's simply a reminder to invest your energy where it will be respected, reciprocated, and valued.